Hello everyone, welcome back to Hari's Academy. Okay, so earlier lecture we have learnt about EBS, Elastic Block Storage, and also we have seen what are the limitations of EBS, right? So today we are going to learn how to eradicate those limitations. So we have learnt like in EBS, the main limitation which we had was like EBS and EC2 should be in the same availability zone, right? So and also one more thing, like one EBS can be attached to only one EC2. So if I want to attach multiple EC2 to one particular storage locations, the scenario would be like if I have a cluster database, then I would have a database in one particular region, one particular storage, and then all the different servers should be able to access that particular location. So that is where if I want to attach multiple EC2s to the storage, it can be done using EFS. So EFS is nothing but Elastic File System. Okay, so this and there is one more very good advantage of it is like we can have our EBS and EC2 in different regions as well. So the region limitation is also not there. And one more thing is like we need not mention upfront. Okay, we need not mention upfront how much GB is required. Like we did it in EBS, we need not mention how much GB is required for storage, and based on the requirement it keeps on scaling up and down. Okay, so that these are the advantages of it. We will see more in detail of what EFS is, but before going to the practicals, let me also tell you what are the limitations of it. So limitations of EFS. Okay, first limitation is like EFS works on, let me clear the screen and show it to you separately probably. Let me open a notepad. Okay, so we'll learn about EFS now in more detail. One, we have seen like the first limitation here is limitations of EFS. The first limitation here is EFS works on NFS protocol. Okay, so it works on NFS protocol, and that is the reason it can be attached only to a Linux EC2 machine. Okay, we cannot use Windows EC2 machine here. So that is first limitation of EFS. So that means like we cannot attach a Windows EC2 for EFS. Okay, and so if I want to attach and work for Windows EC2 as well, then my EFS will not work here. So what I'll go with FSX. This works for both Linux and Windows EC2. Okay, so let us go and see how it works in demo. So what we'll do, we'll have a demo now on EFS, and we'll see what we'll do. So first step would be like we will create a security group. We'll create a security group for EFS, and then we will create an EFS, which is Elastic File System, and we will then create two EC2 instances on two different availability zones. Okay, two different AZs. One would be, suppose if you are having Mumbai, we'll be having it in South 1A, AP South 1A, and then we'll have one more in AP South 1B. Okay, and we will try to access. Now what we'll do, we will attach or mount the EFS to both the EC2s, right? Then what we'll do, we will write a file onto the EFS using any of the EC2 instances, and then we will verify if the file is accessible on the other instance. Okay, so this is what we are going to do here now in the demo. So let's just move to this demo. I'll go to this console.aws.amazon.com. I have logged in with my IAM user. Now I'll go with security groups. So security groups are present in EC2. So I'll definitely go to EC2 now. Now I will search for security groups which are present in network and security. I'll go to security groups. I'm currently in Mumbai location, so I will try to create one security group newly for EFS. I'll say EFS SG security group, EFS-SG, and then I'll say allow access to access EFS. Now I'll select the default VPC, and I'll not add any inbound rules for now. We will see this later. For now, I'm creating an empty security group. I'll click on create security group. Now it is created. The first step is done. Now what is our second step? The second step would be create an EFS. Let me go to EFS. I'll search for EFS in services. I'll search for EFS, and then I will try to create an EFS here. So here I don't have any EFS system already there, so I will create a new file system. You can see different options here. One is the VPC. We are selecting the default VPC for now. We are not changing it anything. You can see the availability zones here. I have selected all because my EC2 can be in any of these availability zones, and I wanted every EC2 instance to be able to access EFS. So I will keep it as it is right now, and I will remove the security group which is defaultly assigned, and I will assign the one which I just created, right? So that would be EFS security group, right? The same thing I will apply it for all the locations or availability zones, EFS security group, and then I'll go to next step. Here I can give some values or tags to it, the similar way we have done it for other services as well. And there is one very important thing here called as lifecycle policy. Here you can if you are not accessing the file for almost like 7 days since last access, so what should I do, right? So I can use this lifecycle policy and save some 92% of my bill by moving it to archive kind of, right? So infrequent access, if you are not frequently accessing that particular EFS folder, then you can move it to infrequent access, which will save up to 92% on your EFS bill. So I will select 14 days. I can select anything here. I am having the remaining options as it is. I am not changing it. I will go to next step now, and here I can have some policies. I am keeping it as it is for now. I am not changing anything here. We will go with default options. Now I am okay to review and see like everything is fine for now. Let me create a file system here. Okay, so it will take some time to create a file system. Meanwhile, what will we do? We will try to create some EC2 instances. That is the third step, right? So if you see here, it is still saying creating because it is going to take some time. I can keep on refreshing here, but again it will take some time for it to be available. So till then, what I'll do, I'll go to services and open EC2 in another tab, because the third step would be creating two EC2 instances on two different AZs. So here we are selecting AP South 1A and AP South 1B. Let me go there. I'll go to running instances. I don't have any instances running right now. So I will go to running instances and click on launch instance. This step we have done many a times in EC2, right? So I'll quickly go to Ubuntu. I'll quickly select t2.micro, and I'll give one instance here because I wanted to have in two different regions. So for now I'll keep it as one, and here in the subnet we haven't changed earlier, but subnet I'll check it as 1A now because I wanted to create in 1A, and remaining things I'll keep it as it is. I'm not going to change anything here. I'll go to add storage. Storage also the default 8 GB will be assigned to this particular EBS volume. I'll keep it as it is. I'll go to add tags. I'll add the tag as name first EC2 instance, just to identify that this is the first instance and second instance. So we have named it as first EC2 instance. Now I'll go to configure security group. Now the default SSH is what I have, but I already had allow HTTP. I'll click on that, and also allow SSH. I wanted that, so I have selected both, and I'll go to review and launch. Now I'll click on launch because everything looks fair. So I will go with my demo keeper. I think I have, yes. So I'll go with my demo keeper, and then I will acknowledge it and I will launch the instance. So now I have launched my first instance. Similarly, what we'll do, we will try to launch another instance similar to this, right? Now I have added AP South 1A is availability zone. I can do one very easy thing, like I can click on right click on this and click on launch more like this. This is one more way of doing the similar way of instance. If you have, I have to only change availability zone, so I am going to launch more like this. So all the options will be same. I can do some edits here where I wanted to do. So probably I'll click on edit AMI and then we'll see how it goes. This one is proper. I'll select this. Next I'll go to instance details. Everything looks fine. Here I have to change it to AP South 1B. Okay, this is what I have to change because this is the second instance where I wanted to have it in other availability zone, just to see whether our EFS will be able to access EFS or not, if our EC2 is in other availability zones or not. Let me add storage. This will be same, add tags. I will say it as second EC2 instance. Okay, and then go to configure security group. It will be the same, review and launch, and then launch. Now also I will select the same my demo key pair, acknowledge it, and launch instance. So meanwhile, once these instances are launched, let me see if they are on or not. Okay, yes. So it will take some time to launch both the instances. Till now I can log into this first instance which I have already have it in running. I'll go to the public IP of it, go to my PuTTY, use Ubuntu @ IP address, go to SSH, auth, browse, and then my demo key pair. Yes, it is, and then we'll open it. And I'll say yes to it. So my first instance is now opened. Now what I have to do, once the second instance is also running, I'll open the second instance as well. I'll copy this, I'll duplicate this, or I'll run another one. I can open it once. I can say right click on it, I can say new session, and then I can go for Ubuntu @ the new second IP. I'll go to SSH, auth, browser, demo key pair, my demo key pair, and then open it. So I'll say yes to it. So I have two instances parallelly opened. Now what should be the third step, right? Third step is done. Now fourth step is to mount the EFS. So let me see if my EFS is on or not. So let me go to EFS again and refresh this to see whether it is available or not. Now we can see these are all available. So it took some time, but again now it is available. So I can run the steps to mount this particular EFS onto both the servers, right? So there are some options given here. I'll go with the first one because it is Amazon EC2 mount instructions from local VPC. We'll go with that. And as ours is an Ubuntu machine, I'll go with this step. So there are few steps which I have to use to access NFS, right? I have to install NFS common. We have already seen how to install anything on Ubuntu, right? Let me maximize this, clear it, and then I can use sudo su to elevate my permissions to root level, or I can use sudo command again and write remaining options, so it will run as a super user only. So you can see apt-get install we have used earlier for installing Apache 2. The same command is now working, but we have to give NFS common, that is to be installed in both the servers. Let me install that. It says yes or no. I'll say yes, and now it is running. The similar option I have to go with the second EC2 instance as well. Let me run that also parallelly. Sudo apt-get, let me maximize this, clear the screen first. Now I'll go to sudo apt-get nfs-common. Let me install this. Okay, something is wrong. Let me see the command again. Okay, let me copy the command from here. Apt-get install. Sorry, I forgot install. I'll right click again. I'll install NFS common now. It is asking for confirmation. Yes, I want to install. It will install NFS common. That is the first step we have to follow here. The second step would be to create a directory called EFS. So this has to be created in both the EC2 instances. So once everything is done, I'll clear it and then I'll run the second command, which is make directory EFS. Okay, this is done in one system. We'll do it in other system as well. Let me clear this and run this command of make directory EFS. Yes, now it is done. Now I have one more last step, which is using the NFS client, right? So I'll use this entire command as it is. I don't need to remember it. We have it on your EC2, your EFS terminal itself. So I'll copy this. I'll try to right click and then enter. Now what happens? There is a timeout. It is not going ahead. It means we are missing on something, right? Whenever this kind of issues happen, like when it goes to timeout, the main issue would be security group, right? Now you remember we have created a security group for EFS, but we haven't assigned any inbound rules to it, right? So let me quickly go to that security groups and see what is that in EFS security group is created. Okay, let me just see quickly that EFS security group. Yes, I have this one. So I haven't mentioned anything in the inbound rules, correct? When I click on inbound rules, I don't see anything. I will click on edit rules. Now in the edit rules, I don't have anything here, but I will add a rule now, right? So here one important thing here is, like, every time we have seen, like whenever we are trying to add inbound rules, we have seen like port and protocol are very important here, right? So for EFS, we need to have a protocol called NFS, network file system. I click on NFS, automatically the protocol and port will be automatically populated. The port number would be 2049, right? Now I will give my security group. So now this access has to be given to what, right? I'll open security group in another tab. I can give it to one of the security group which is used, right? So our instances, if I go in one of the instances, I have my security group has like allow HTTP. I'll go there. I'll copy the security group number here. This is one more way of giving access, not just IP, not just anything else. I can also give a security group also here. I'll copy paste this. So when I do this, it is like a two-way communication, right? Whatever security groups we are using it for instance, it is giving access to EFS. Now let me say save rules. Now we are done. Let me see, let me do a control C here to come out of it and then try to run the same command. Let's see if it works. Yes, it works. The similar command I have to use it for another machine as well. I'll right click on it. Sorry, I have to copy it back. I'll go to EC2 management again. Where is EFS? Okay, here I have mount instructions. Third step is what we are missing out. I'll copy this and then I will right click on it to paste it here and then enter it. So now this is installed. Now I can do df-h or df-k command to list down if it is properly mounted or not. This is what we have seen in the previous lecture as well, which is on EBS. So now I can see this is a file system and it is mounted to /home/ubuntu/EFS, right? Now what I can do? I have mounted it. Now I will do one thing. I'll go to EFS folder, see change directory EFS. I'll enter. Now what I'll do? I'll create a file here, echo, and then using echo or nano or vim, we can create a file here. We are going with echo command now to create a file, saying like file on EFS. Okay, let me see if I can access it. Okay, echo, I'll give it to some file name called as file1.txt. I'll save it here. Now it says access denied because I don't have access to it. So I can use sudo and then I can give echo because I am not on root user here. So I have given sudo and then I'll give the same command again, file1.txt, and I click enter here. If it is still saying the same, go for sudo su and then try to run this command. I'll copy this, right click on this and then run it. Now it is run. Now I can use the ls-la command to list down the files. I have this file1.txt created now. Let me view what is there in that using cat command. We have already discussed it earlier also. So I'll open it. It is saying file on EFS. Now I'll try to do the same thing on second instance. I have not created anything on second instance now. Now let me try to go to EFS folder and then list the files. I can still see file1.txt is created. That means I was able to access the file which is created on EFS and though it is in multiple AZs, I am still able to access my EFS, which is all the files on EFS. Now let me see cat and then try to open that file and see file1.txt. Yes, it is file on EFS. So this way we have understood how EFS works and how can we attach multiple EC2s which are there in different availability zones. Still we can access whatever there on EFS. It is like a network file system, and the limitations we have already seen. If I want to, this is only accessible for Linux machines. For Windows we need to have FSX, which works for both Linux as well as Windows, right? I hope you understood this demo as well, and the importance of EFS. I like this demo because we have also seen how to troubleshoot an issue which we faced, right? So I hope you will try this, and let me know your comments, your experience in the comment section below. Please do let me know if you have any hiccups in this. I will be happy to help you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Happy learning.